Well, a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and it's so great to have you on board. How have you been? Now, listen, I want to tell you something which is very probable, and it is going to be something that you can actually expect to see in the Mount Kenya region, and that is the relationship between the Ruto's politics and the gamer community's politics. Actually, it is now the talk of the nation. In the political landscape, it is now actually trending. Very many people are bringing in what is always termed as, the controversial nature of Mount Kenya politics. Now, the question is this: are we going to have William Ruto hold his grips in Mount Kenya? Because a different narrative is now coming on board, a different twist of it. Now, in this analysis, I want to give you just one thing that I know is really happening in Mount Kenya. We've actually had, very many instances of trying to discuss and dig deeper into what might actually come when you try to forecast or foreshadow the gamer community's play in their support of William Ruto. Now, if you look at the 48 laws of power, there is this law that says use a sucker to catch a sucker. Now, it definitely means that when you find that somebody is trying to play you, chini ya maji, then you can also try to bring in a counter narrative, or you politically checkmate them and outdo them in their own game. So like they always say, beat them in their own game. Now, the time UDA party was having its NDC, it came out that there was a serious underground plot to try to tarnish every advancement of William Ruto's political gain in the Mount Kenya region. And this was actually done by people who are against the real thing that Ruto stands for in Mount Kenya region. And the way politics is happening right now, they are riding on the fact that the Mount Kenya community is now the angriest, the most angry, in as far as relying on William Ruto's promises. First of all, they are trying to say that, when they expected the promises to be met in the short term, they're now being again promised that the promises will be met in the long run, which of course is not their tree and bread. It's not their palatable, sweet, okay? So there is no way they can rely on everything that is coming on with William Ruto. So the only way that they have seen possible is to try to play the sucker game with William Ruto in Mount Kenya politics. That is the reason why there is a faction that is seriously silent. They are not talking about supporting Ruto politically like they used to. There is also another faction that is going down and trying to sensitize the people that, you are cheated or you are duped, because they cannot actually showcase to people exactly what Ruto is doing. So if you look at Rigathi Gachagua, there is a section of Mount Kenya leaders that are pro Rigathi Gachagua, but they are not coming out steadily well. And that is the reason you will hear Rigathi going down and taking the initiative by himself and pleading with the Mount Kenya guys to continue supporting William Ruto and continue making him their kingpin. And as a matter of fact, at that time we were hearing, you remember the time Ruto went and tried to showcase that his temerity is still intact in Mount Kenya region. They ordained him as the kingpin of Mount Kenya. So Rigathi Gachagua is taking it down and pleading with the people, which we did not expect that it will reach this far, of him going to plead with the people. It is because somebody has been playing the game of soccer, okay, and forming a conversation that is not supposed to erupt immediately, but it is a conversation that is building up to have its appropriate time. And when it erupts, we will have everything turned upside down. There is this other faction that is coming out point blank. They are coming out publicly to say how they are disappointed, how they have not seen things coming out well in William Ruto's government. This is the faction that is not fearing distancing themselves from the losses or the failures that people have started to see as early as now in William Ruto's government. And this is the faction that is making actually, the likes of Gachagua to go and plead with the people, because this faction has more force. If they can use their voice so well and continue steadfastly, we will not be standing a chance of Gachagua able to convince the Mount Kenya region to continue with William Ruto. So right now, if you ask the mountain whom they voted for, it is this faction that is coming with confidence to set a conversation against William Ruto that is making their perception, okay, the perception of Mount Kenya, residents to go against the alienation that they had with Ruto in the first place. So if you ask them right now who they voted for, they will be staring at you and saying, they will be taking time to answer that question, because the moment they answer you directly that you voted for Ruto, you will be trying now to create a debate with them, and they will not actually like it. So there is something that has brewed up so well, and it is something which is going to be a big task for William Ruto to manage. And one thing that I've always actually loved with Ruto is that perhaps him giving it time, just trying to showcase that things are good, yet he has not had his, shots at everything. Perhaps this is the time we need to let Mr. Gachagua, try to do his things. So what people know right now is that there is no kind of advantage or development that Gachagua is bringing on board. But for William Ruto, he needs to study the ground. He needs to take enough time and look at what people are really thinking in Mount Kenya, and then come up with a strategy to counter this narrative. Otherwise, if he rushes into it, he will mess up, because already the man who is trying to align things is messing up, Ruto's fate steadily well. So when Ruto takes time and identifies how this narrative can be countered, it will be best for him. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? I'll see you next. Have a great time.